Well, part 2 was fun, but I think I'm ready to... Alright, yes, I get it, guys, chill out. Half of these comments weren't even on Angry Birds videos. Believe it or not, I do make challenges on games other than Deranged Dinosaurs, but fine, what have we got here? Birthday Party, Bad Piggies, and Red's Mighty Feathers? Sounds just dandy. I mean, nothing could be worse than 14-12 and 16-13. Nothing. It's literally impossible, which is why this video is the longest one yet. Come on, I can't catch a break even once? If you can't catch a break from my stupid videos popping up in your recommendations, make sure to dislike and unsubscribe so I'm never seen again. Hopefully that's not how you feel though, and at this point, you know the drill. Unless you somehow haven't seen any of the prequels yet, in which case you should watch all of those immediately without fast forwarding or skipping any of the ads. Are you done? Well, why not? Fine, here are the rules. No using the bird powers. If you can wrap your mind around that, then let's get started. But before we can go party, there's some very important business to attend to. I never finished Hammam High. 3 secret levels hidden in the darkest corner of the internet. Facebook. An incredibly popular game like Angry Birds is bound to have a myriad of various versions, and so far I've been playing the PC release. That's good for a ton of reasons like recording footage and amplifying accuracy, but it does create a couple of conundrums, like not being updated for a decade. Back when I made part 2, I was on 3.3, but have since upgraded to 4.0, which adds short views, another 15 bird days, and also the 3 Facebook levels, which I might as well tackle now for completion's sake. Although the version differential does introduce difficulties for continuing this series. I'm missing Birthday Cakes 5, 6, and 7. 4 episodes are forever out of my grasp: Flock Favorites, Bird Island, Piggy Farm, and Jurassic Pork. It's okay if you haven't heard of those because no one remembers them anyway, but that's still not where the problems end. Version exclusives and disappearing daily levels make it darn near impossible to ever truly finish, so real quick, let's discuss the future of this series. Part 4 will polish off the PC port with short views, surf and turf, and every golden egg. If I ever make part 5, medium-sized if, by the way, I'll switch to the Android version and finish the final 4 episodes. Facebook level 3 is the only one that gave me any trouble, but is still an absolute pushover compared to the actually hard levels we've seen so far and the ones coming up. Arc Blue to destroy the central sheriff, then use Matilda to fracture the front of the first formation. Chuck can't quite conquer the furthest building on his own, making it the Reds' job to finish things off. Their ability to do so depends partially on the good fortune of structure collapse, but a few close calls told me I was on the right track, and 20 minutes of attempts is no sweat at this point. Whoa, nice start! To celebrate properly, let's head over to the Birthday Party. At first, I wasn't sure what order to complete these, but Stream Chat told me left to right. This seemingly reasonable approach results in playing all of the 4th anniversary levels before the 3rd or 2nd, but whatever, you guys voted for this. 4-2 provides 2 Matildas and Reds, but while most of the Porker's primitive preparations are simple enough to pulverize without my explosive eggs, this well-defended helmet hog in the center is guaranteed to create some problems. Even hitting it once will usually leave a stone slab on top, and any debris that falls from the towers will just make it harder to hurt. To avoid this, I devoted Matilda number 1 entirely to the cause, which really helped when the one explosion I do have access to smashed a pig straight down onto the supporting boulder for a chain reaction triple kill. The final tower was no match for my avian army. But immediately after lies the difficulty spike, as 4-3 held me up for over half an hour. Binary boomerangs are a welcome sight, but this sturdy stone structure is a bit too much for them to handle. The first shot is fairly simple, using Hal to knock down the first couple constructions, but Chuck's best use is not immediately clear. At first I tried to wall up the wooden support, but the necessary pinpoint precision along with rubble made that an inconsistent strategy. It was only once I began attacking from above that the pathway to victory finally became clear. Chuck and Hal can break through the top and drill down, although I'd better make sure no birdies there by the time I continue my assault. No. Hal disappeared. No! Hal ruined everything. A sweet shot with my second boomerang was enough to finish the right side on my successful attempt, leaving only the small straggler to sweep up. But now, the moment you've all been waiting for, Bubbles has been born, and it is absolutely refreshing to anoint yet another bird with top-tier status. Like Bomb, Bubbles' balloon ability activates automatically after he collides with something, blowing up to 10 times his normal size and pushing everything in his way out of his way. Plus, if there's room, he'll release all his contained air as he flies around in random directions. And while I don't necessarily want to rely on RNG, it can be a powerful ace up my sleeve. 4-5 also introduces Bubbles. I mean, Stella. Easy enough to get him confused when Stella is literally the one that creates bubbles, but more auto activations are advantageous nonetheless. She creates an area of effect that levitates all blocks in the vicinity, which is cool and all, but her low base damage, smaller AoE, and rather mercurial magic knocks her down a tier. Though I think we can all agree that Hal is good company. 4-8 seemed tricky until I learned that Matilda can pull much more than her considerable weight. After a lucky launchless level lapse allowed her to detonate the TNT with a destabilizing ricochet, it was easy enough to execute the enduring enemies, but as soon as I entered the next stage... Oh no, this looks bad. Look at how far this final tower is. It's devastatingly impossible. A good first shot might be able to squash all but 2 swine, but the last one up on the hill is just too far. A proper sequel to 16-13 this early? It didn't have to be this way, and unlike there, the TNT here is useless. I tried everything, but there really isn't much that can be tried, so after half an hour of attempts across multiple streams and a very close poll, I decided to bite the feather and move on. I know it's a sad way to begin, and I promise that I'll find redemption later, but 4 Candles-9 has earned its place on the wall of shame, and the best I can hope for is to keep Birthday Party down to only a single power use. For now, I have to find a fix for my frustration by flying like a falcon through the following 25 levels. Let's go! That's exactly what I wanted. Oh! Wait, that was actually it. That's perfect. Yes! That's good. I didn't even need Matilda at all. Use blue on the TNT, use Chuck on the support at the bottom of the second building. Well, I could have done that. Oh, that was unintentionally way better. I just realized these bird hats are randomized every time you restart the level. I don't know if I'll have to exploit it, but it might make the difference. That's a nice chain reaction I got there. Yes! That was perfect. This still could do it. Oh? Yeah, there it is. That could get these guys. Fingers crossed. That worked. But playtime has to end eventually, and the second anniversary's 5th stage pioneers a plethora of problematic piggy properties. Against this precarious aerial pyramid, neither of my new recruits have volunteered, leaving me with a decidedly average lineup of Furious Fowl outnumbered by 50%. Even worse, the furthest 3 pigs are completely out of reach, but that's no reason to give up when I have gravity on my side, and bomb, and a whole lot of TNT. Yeah, I think I can make something work, as long as there's a way to collapse the right side of the level. Soon I learned the consistent strategy of weakening the top left with Matilda, which allows Bomb to plant himself inside the station and blast debris across the gap. Problem is, there are a million different possible outcomes. Plenty of these dispatch 1 or 2 right side hogs, but that's not enough. I need all of them to go, or else the attempt is a bust. But eventually, after hitting what felt like every conceivable failure state, Bomb came through and produced a whopping 5 pieces of delicious pulled pork. Whoa, hang on, is that it? Is that actually it? It's happening. It might be happening. Now I still had to execute with Chuck, but my hour of practice proved itself profitable as I masterfully targeted the remaining weak points. Yes! 2-6 isn't quite as bad as all that, but still presents a healthy hazard. At least the first shot is obvious, as Jake can topple this tower all by himself, although I can't just repeat that strategy without blanketing the center structure in a layer of splinters. I attempted lots of arcs and angles to smash the glass house, but it turned out that what I needed in the end was just a beak-on assault. That leaves Chuck no room for error when fragmenting the final floor, but my favorite yellow triangle proved yet again that he's got what it takes. Yes! Another one down. I thought my powerful pigeon party would make 2-7 a piece of cake, but it wasn't quite as easy as I initially hoped. This cowardly corporal has encased himself in stone, making bubbles bounce right off. I need at least 1 bomb to dispatch the furthest partier, which limits my options, but my expansion powers have more creative possibilities. Instead of trying to break in from above, perhaps I can shove something into the space horizontally. Wait, I did it! 2-8 also didn't look too terrible at first glance, but happens to represent the perfect recipe for getting pigs stuck in impossible situations. If I lose this, I am officially bad at Angry Birds. Boulders constantly fall to jam up my entry points, and the unbreakable central circle creates the perfect obstacle to clean and concise shots. No! As I searched for some special strategy to carry me through, I continued letting Hal deal as much damage to the left side scaffolding as he could. Eventually, I got lucky as he single-wingedly defeated all 5 pigs inside. I'd been here before, and it's definitely still possible to screw up, but Chuck decided a double dose of destiny was due, barely brushing the boulder to crush the final 2 pigs with as many birds still on the bench. 2 candles - 10 is trivial compared to those last 4, but I'm still using the arbitrary metric from part 1 of did it take me 10 minutes to decide what to include. This one took me 10 minutes and 40 seconds, so put her in there. Although it does make me wonder how long these supposedly easy levels would have taken me all the way back at the beginning when I had no experience. Anyway, this stage has, oh, it's over already. Cool. At this point, I thought the real sugar rush was behind me, but the final 2 levels combined took me nearly an hour, with only Jim, Jake, and Jay across this. Well, it's not massive, but it's a pretty big structure, and I can only do decent damage to the parts made of glass. Even that's not reliable, because sometimes he'll still just bounce off. But sometimes he won't, and it was one of those times that this happened. Now I just have to get a little lucky on these glassy slopes here at the end. I guess... Okay, you fall over. Oh, is it all collapsing? Yes? Yes, please? This should be perfect. Yes! Okay, I was so scared for a second there that blue was just gonna hit and not kill. That would be funny for you guys and sad for me. And now to end this party, we'll need to destroy the cake factory. But a couple of these greedy hogs are so well defended that for them, it's not a factory, it's a fortress. The gal under the floorboards is content with nearly any conceivable castle collapse, while the crane operator's buddy is protected by an unbreakable wall and impossible to access with any arc, meaning I'll have to solve that one secondhand. Even when I had multiple birds left to take out these 2, I didn't bother to try. That's how low the odds are. While there is a decent lineup of angry aviators, 4 isn't really enough when they're spread this thin. So Chuck needs to be absolutely perfect to give me a chance. With a lot of skill and even more luck, it is possible to crash the castle with all the pigs inside, eliminating half of the level. Bubbles clearly needs to do some lung exercises though, because he's a lot less reliable than I was hoping for. It's easy enough to launch him into the pit, but after he blows up, he gives up and simply disappears instead of going on his normally very useful deflationary spiral. So the inflationary segment consumes my hope entirely as I pray every time that it can abuse the janky physics just enough to tear apart Tower Tim. I don't know why I named him Tim. He just looks like a Tim, and he's in a tower. Most of the time this got me nowhere, but hey, time is all I have. Okay, wait, that could be it. That could be it. Okay, that's huge. That's huge. Yes! If I screw up this Hal shot, I'm going to just end the stream, honestly. Yes! Level 15 over. With the green menaces thoroughly caked in confection, I thought I had all the experience I needed to deal with bad piggies. They're so smug about stealing the eggs again, but keep laughing. That 2-wheeled wooden cart is going to tip over any second. If I can beat that game without electric power, why not bird powers as well? But this confidence earned me a quick kick in the teeth as I encountered the hardest level so far in 20-2. It may seem short and simple, but is sadly severely excruciating. So painful, in fact, that 81% of chat voted I skip it with a power use during the stream after half an hour of fruitless attempts. But don't you worry, because I'm not about to leave it at that. Unlike our current couple of challenge corruptions, this isn't obviously impossible by virtue of distance. I only have one powered up bird here anyway. Can it really make that much of a difference? Yes it can. Matilda's explosive egg is obviously intended for the roadhog, because as long as the wooden box remains intact, he's basically invincible. That means I need to find some way to destroy it, alongside 2 other towers that are sturdy in their own right, with only 3 mediocre birds. Not even a direct hit from everyone's favorite quality-sized queen is enough on its own. I didn't even know where to start, but a couple folks on my Discord server, link in the the description, provided the prerequisite pieces. Matilda's secret sauce involves rolling off the tower to fall onto the central enemy, entirely eradicating the former, while a single shot from red can sometimes transfer enough force through the wall to detonate the TNT. Equal and opposite reactions, baby. There are caveats though. Neither of these shots is easy or consistent, and even if I nail them both, I have to hope that there's no debris blocking my final shot, that Matilda dealt enough damage for red to finish things, and that the car didn't roll so much as to invalidate my established arc. It is possible to commit no mistakes and still lose. That is not weakness, that is Angry Birds. But with a plan in hand, I just had to execute once. As the time climbed higher and higher, 202 entered the elite echelon, superseding 2 hours of attempts. But even the mightiest of hogs can't cheat death indefinitely. 20-6 provides an extremely underwhelming bird lineup with only Jim, Jake, and Jay, so I knew I'd need to find every critical weak point. This diagonal glass slab is the perfect target, handily clearing the top area by dumping it onto the pigs below. Still, the debris leaves no guarantee that I'll be able to finish things, so it wasn't until an extraordinarily damaging chain reaction blew both blocks of dynamite and left a single solitary swine sentient that I had the chance to finish things off. At last, blue number 3 can be useless in the positive direction. 20-13 occupies the same vein with another triple turquoise, but is about twice as tough. The many small pigs hidden away in tiny nooks makes it especially hard to get everyone. That was until yet another absolutely stupendous chain reaction occurred. Oh, okay. Left tower collapses. Right tower collapses. Okay, that's huge. That's it. Is that it? It happened. 2 birds. I'm really glad this happened after only 25 minutes because I get the feeling I could have been here an hour. Of course, that is always an option, as 20-15 demonstrates. Even though Mr. Mustache is out of range, he's not too hard to dispatch by wobbling the tower. Instead, the problematic pigs are found on the bottom, and as always, locked inside a wooden cage. These are the ones I'd need to worry about, and worry I did for about 50 minutes. Without a system to very literally debase this tower, I'd never reach them. This rectangular wooden block is most crucial to the structure's integrity, and it's only once I started consistently crashing through it that I got anywhere close. Still, its destruction is far from a guaranteed victory, as time after time left swine smugly swimming in my failure. Though it's far from easy, the successful strategy is surprisingly simple. Every bird takes aim at the lower left corner, except Matilda, who's on tower duty and can hopefully bounce back to do some secondary damage. Nice! That's it! Is that it? Please, finally! I was so scared that pig was gonna fall out of the box and still not die. We've destroyed every machine he's thrown at us, but even though we've got his head mechanic seeing stars, our arch nemesis King Pig is still escaping with the eggs. 21-2 took me a hot second, but when Hal can solo the left side of the level and Chuck can activate the TNT, I've got nothing to worry about. The rest of the chapter isn't anything to worry about either. There we go, that's perfect. Perfect. Oh, now he's really flying. Okay, I think this is it. I think all the pigs are dead. That was insanely good. How did this world start out so difficult, and now everything is just free? Look at this. Free! I definitely wasn't expecting to get stuck on a level with double Bubbles and Stella, but 22-8 surprised me. See, just like Bomb, Stella and Bubbles' automatic power activation is delayed about a second after contact with an object. Normally that's not a problem, since I can just launch them to where they'll do the most damage. Here though, someone's out of reach. Come on, don't let this guy sandbag my perfect run of bad piggies. Even if I do hit the balloon, string, or cargo, the activation timer ensures I'll be out of range before I can deal any damage. This unfortunate situation would require an equivalent counterbalance of good luck to overcome, and I wasn't quite sure where I would find it. Bubbles' random deflation had potential and even succeeded a few times. Oh, that's it! But Stella just didn't have what it takes to close things out. Neither of them. Hey, I am this close to moving you down a tier, and do you really want to be with Matilda? I didn't think so. Do better. But bubble blowing RNG isn't my only option. His inflation can hurl lots of debris toward the top pig when set up properly inside the roof of the nearest house. Though I don't have much control over this either, at least it can marginally increase my chances. Sometimes a single splinter can symbolize success, and sure, I'll take all my luck at once. Stella shirked her responsibilities as Bubbles' got the job done alone. All too often, get lucky is the most viable strategy in this challenge. But in certain tragic circumstances, luck has its limits. Here I was, 5 levels from episode's end when I encountered 22-11. It's impossible, period. Probably the most impossible level so far. 16-13 always had the potential of TNT RNG, but here, yet again, the pigs on top are just too far away. I wish there was more to say, but sometimes life doesn't play fair. And by life, I mean Rovio. Everything on the left is easy, so I don't need more than 1 power use, but I definitely do need more than 0. Oh well, I guess my goal at this point is keeping every episode at or below a single power use. 22-14 might be the final obstacle, but I'm not in any real danger. With so many pigs and only 4 birds, routing was bound to be a challenge, but between Stella and Red, my damage output isn't significantly decreased. When I discovered how to launch Stella between the first 2 towers, that became my go-to opening gambit, as it can completely demolish all the pigs on the ground, like 20% of the time. When it does, I can completely devote my final 3 birds to the floating island. I win! With the king's contraptions crumbled and crown confiscated, it's about time for some real drama. That's right, we're about to explore Red's emotional state. He is sad because he doesn't have any powers to murder the pigs like all his friends. But suddenly, hope appears on the wind. The wondrous gift of Mighty Eagle's feathers has empowered our maroon mascot to mash those monsters into mutilated mincemeat. Good for him, bad for me, because Red's Mighty Feathers begins with every challenge runner's nightmare. A tutorial! At first, everything looks normal. Then you launch Red, and as soon as he's past this hill, the game tries to teach me something. But instead of an example power demo like every other new bird introduction, everything just freezes and won't resume until I click where it wants me to. If I click over here, it won't work. I'm clicking all around. It's not working. If I do that, Red will dive bomb straight into the pig courtesy of his newly potent plumage. A forced power use in the very first level? I can't even restart until I acquiesce, but to make matters worse, this isn't where it ends. The very next shot will pull the same stunt, forcing another power use and then a third because the last pig is too far away. Ah, distance, my greatest adversary. But if you think I'm going to settle for 3 power uses in the very first level, either you're crazy or you don't know how crazy I am, because this level does have a saving grace, and paradoxically, it's the same hill that's supposed to force me to use abilities in the first place. By hitting it before reaching the cutscene trigger, Red's power will be deactivated, allowing him to bounce into the danger zone unencumbered by intended mechanics. But while this is useful, it's far from a catch-all solution. There are only so many ways to ricochet into the main level, and while it's easy enough to fall down the dynamite shaft to destroy the second structure, it's nearly impossible to hit the first one. In my 40 minutes of attempts on stream, the best way I found was to hit the very top corner, moving forward slightly and falling straight down. But this is literally a pixel perfect shot, which would be fine if I only had to do it once, but I need to hit it twice in a row to detonate the TNT and get the bottom hog. The best I got was 2 proper launches separated by a dud, but I need both of the last birds to complete the rest, so it wasn't enough. Eventually, I moved on with 2 power uses, but vowed to return and make things right. No matter what background element I tried though, I just couldn't find a consistent cursor location. It's never been useful yet, but perhaps I should introduce my friend Empty for a 3rd time. MPT, the mouse positioning tool. I call it Empty because that's how it makes me feel inside whenever it doesn't work. It took a lot of experimentation, but half an hour later I found my numbers. 1226X, 1402Y. Good news, this is as consistent as it gets. Bad news, it's still not reliable. Whether it has something to do with sub-pixel measurements or launch RNG or screen scroll distance, using the same pixels won't result in an identical shot. I might snipe the pig, but I also might roll off the steep dirt side or land on the left glass block. If I can't hit the TNT with my second launch, it won't even matter. But after 20 minutes of disappointing non-results, Red managed to knock off the right glass cube while pushing the other further left, and after waiting nearly 30 seconds, the weight from the wooden block on the rope was enough to pull the entire thing off and expose the TNT. At last, Red number 2 came through. Now I just needed a solid shot for pig 3, and I could end the level with my one and only power usage of, hopefully, the whole episode. Luckily, the other levels in this episode don't shove tutorials down my throat and do give me birds other than Red, so it wasn't until 23-6 that I ran into some more power trouble. Red can easily take out the closest 3 hogs by popping and dropping the balloons and TNT, but yet again I'm faced with a piggy that's just out of reach. To beat him, Bubbles' arbitrary blowout is my best bet, and when it finally happened after 25 minutes of attempts, I knew I had this in the bag. Get this guy, please. Finally! Wait, is that it? Even with it in the way, Bubbles can kill the pig, so it's not too big of a deal. Okay, there we go. Goodbye, pig. What? What? You've got to be kidding me. Bubbles pushed that pig into the wall, and it's still alive. This level hates me. This is so dumb. Ugh, fine. At least it didn't take too much longer for him to get what he had coming. I can beat it. The question is, will I? Finally, the Bubbles RNG. Thank goodness. The rest of the levels in the chapter aren't particularly hard, but feature increasingly convoluted contraptions of the horrendous hog variety. There are lots of fun and crazy gimmick interactions, though. If only that could be where it ended, but no, Rovio just had to go and invent a brand new game mode and stick it in this episode just to mess with me. The second level set in Red's Mighty Feathers is not exactly a garden variety grumpy geese gauntlet. Instead, we have the egg defender stages, because the pigs have unlocked Ross, who is presumably off screen somewhere building, rolling, and flying egg abduction machines. My job is to use Red, and only Red, to stop these devious devices before they can get too close. There are a lot of crucial differences here, so let's list them off real quick. Most importantly, I have unlocked the power to defy math itself and impart infinite irate avifauna upon my enemies. But what I gain in numbers, I lose in accuracy. The 3x4 aspect ratio and constantly auto-adjusting camera absolutely crush any confidence in consistent catapults, forcing me to play on raw instinct alone. Because every machine also moves, sometimes unpredictably, it's exponentially harder to discover and execute a viable strategy without access to those captivating kinetic quills. Each level is actually 5 separate machines strung together by checkpoints, meaning that while I technically see 15 levels on the menu, there are 75 in objective reality. Stage 1 is a tutorial, but this time doesn't force an early power use, allowing me to ascertain alternative arcs. Finally got the pig. Wait, why isn't the pig dying? Why is it alive? What is it doing? It's not until the penultimate porker of level 4 that I run into a machine with 0 easily exploitable weak spots. When every spare centimeter is smothered by an indestructible bounce pad, there just aren't any good options. Changing course to straight up with Red's ability is the obvious intended answer, leaving me with no other option than to bang my birds against this wall. After over 20 minutes of trying, I finally thought I had it figured out. I might not be able to damage this machine, but I can knock it around to get a shot from a better angle and exploit its weak spot. At least that was the idea, but instead the pig just got severely intimidated and decided to run away. I know I'm scary, but I didn't think I was that scary. A win is a win though, and that sentiment has never been more important than here in Egg Defender. The next level introduces vacuums on the machines, allowing pigs to suck up the eggs from thrice as far away. At least the egg can always find its way back to the nest. Wait, birds, I get the feeling you're not telling me the whole truth about your spawn. What lies inside those spotless shells? Well, actually, I don't really care if there's some kind of zombie chiclet in there, as long as it makes my job easier. Most of these machines have an obvious weak spot that can disable or destroy them, making only the double vacuum final contraption a serious concern. I can't hit the top because I'll be sucked in, the front is covered in bounce pads, and metal wheels are also completely indestructible. But perhaps the vacuums can be used to my advantage. Normally, I wouldn't be able to hit the fan propelling the machine, but with the extra downward momentum, I might just have a chance. Okay, that's one. Darn, that was almost it. That's 2. I'm going to need to get the pig after the fan. Oh, is that it? Can I hit the pig? Come on. Yes! That was a real trick shot. You guys were right. The fan strat was it. Eggs -6, 7, and 8 are full of contraptions with obvious weak points, so blasting through them was an absolute breeze. Oh! Oh, I actually did it. Red rolled off. That TNT made that very easy. Okay, that's 2 hits. 3 hits. He didn't grab the egg, so we are chilling. It can't roll anymore. Is that it? Nice. Dead on. Okay, it's that simple. I just needed to pop 1 balloon. Okay, he's rolling back. It's a slope. This is it. Nice. Another level down. It's not until level 9 that the fuse is finally lit on just how hard these levels can get, with a brand new machine part that definitely isn't in Bad Piggies, the auto-target fruit cannon. These things are the absolute worst. Their unlimited fire rate combined with absurd accuracy almost entirely invalidates my singular strategy of launch bird at target. All this might be fine if the cannons were glass, but no, it's one of the strongest objects in the game, requiring 4 direct hits to destroy. And of course, a direct hit is nearly impossible because I'll be shot out of the sky before I get there. None of these problems are more apparent than when facing machine number 3, completely covered in bounce pads while the TNT is blocked by the extruding gun. If any level in Egg Defender is impossible, it's this one. After 20 minutes of attempts that were only fruitful to the extent that Red got a non-consensual face salad every time he left the slingshot, I gave up and moved on. Though to get a sense of just how stupid this machine is, it helps to realize that even bird powers aren't a free win. Automaton 4 was easy, just requiring a bounce off the ground to hit the underside of the TNT, but the last contraption has a little bit of everything. Vanquishing the vacuum will earn victory, but that must happen before the pig gets his greedy paws on the egg. With the cannon's sturdy defense, that's no easy task, but at least it's more straightforward than Machine 3. The turret's aim isn't quite so perfect when I'm not aiming directly at it. Okay, finally. The pig is running away. That was it. Now I just need to find some strategy for the middle. With that, my job here still isn't done. I've already got the 1 power use back in this episode's first level. There has to be some way to conquer this cannon. Arcing to hit the TNT just isn't a viable strategy between the machine's movement and the danger of being shot out of the sky. The only real way to get through this must be to beat the cannon and detonate the TNT before the corporal can successfully retreat behind enemy lines. And despite the absolutely overpowered nature of this projectile launcher, it does have exactly 2 exploitable weaknesses. First, its current direction. If the cannon is facing the completely wrong way when I launch my bird, it'll whip back around during the release, drastically decreasing its accuracy. Second, it can't hit me if there's something in the way, meaning that if I can position a used bird on the cannon's mouth, I'll essentially get a free shot. It's far from easy or consistent, but at least the bounce pads help me slightly here to get my birds on top. So after 40 straight minutes of attempting this level, I was finally able to annihilate the artillery and snipe the dynamite moments before the pig escaped off screen. Hopefully that's as hard as it's going to get, but there are still 6 stages to smash through. Egg-10-4 is a real wild card, with the pig raising a wall as soon as the prize is in hoof. But to solve this, I just broke the engine box before the machine could reach my nest, and the accumulated debris was enough to stop him dead in his tracks. Although that begs the question, why is the egg right out here in the open anyway? Isn't this why birds build their nests in trees? Oh right, I forgot these ones can't fly. Angry birds? More like lame ducks, although I don't know how much it matters when the egg is straight up indestructible. A giant pile of metal boxes can fall on it and not cause a scratch. A string of simple shutdowns stayed me through to the 3rd to last level. That's it, I think. Is he gonna run? No, stop running. You're excited for the full video? Thank you, Brownie. It looks basically stuck. Pig gave up. Good stuff. Should be okay here. Okay, nice. I got the 1 rocket and that destroyed it. Now I can get the TNT. There we go. It's actually probably not too bad. Yeah, because I can do that. Oh. Okay, that's perfect. No, not a cannon. It's tricky to hit, but it's possible. Okay, nice. Got it. Yes, please. Oh, that's it. Finally. Make things much easier. Okay. There we go. That's what I needed. Or if I can just hit the rocket beforehand. No, the TNT's defending him. Okay, still got him. We're good. The last card of Egg-13 has a gimmick where the bounce pad moves to protect the central corporal as soon as a bird is fired, but I was able to easily circumvent this by aiming for the leftmost metal box instead. Level 14 begins with an unbreakable bouncy balloon burdened by a metal box that breaks away as soon as my embryo has been abducted. But even though dynamite can be destroyed, the constant flipping around makes that a lot harder. Eventually, when the pig had the misfortune of landing sideways and being unable to swipe the egg, I got my chance. The next machine is rather dreadfully unbalanced, so knocking it over as it tried to reverse was enough to send the corporal packing. Deconstructing the cannon in the consecutive construction convinced it to concede, and my failed pursuit resulted in the instantaneous extermination of number 4. The following 5th and final fabrication is fairly strange, but taking out any of the boxes will send the swine scampering scared, necessitating only a stellar snipe. At last, we've made it to the final level of the video, and as a special treat, there are only 4 machines here to worry about. Dispatching the first is as simple as vanquishing the villainous vacuum vacuum, although the getaway vehicle combined with the sucker being mostly surrounded makes this a bit tricky. Still not very hard compared to what I've already encountered, and despite the second structure's attempted sky sneak attack, the fully exposed vacuum lends itself to a similar strategy. My avian onslaught kept the third machine entirely out of range on my very first attempt, and the last one is a messy hodgepodge of disconnectable components. From the beginning, I focused on the front vacuum, but could never destroy it in time to disrupt the closest pig's getaway strategy. Instead, I used the suction to my advantage and targeted the middle monster, although this just resulted in Mustache making a clean getaway. No, it's... I got so close. But with an earlier eradication, they just aren't sure what to do. The foreman flies away, and despite sucking up the egg, Piggy 1 was too terrified to activate his bouncy balloon bailout, leaving me to sweep these swine into the dustbin of Angry Birds history without ever using the titular mighty feathers. This is wrong. Red did not use his powers to defeat the birds. It's been yet another turbulent flight, but I'm satisfied with keeping it down to only a single power use per world. When every failure is simply a function of distance, I don't feel like I got outsmarted anywhere like I may have been in the season's episode. Of course, it's easier to not get outsmarted when there are plenty more minds to back me up, so I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who helped in chat during the live streams, especially Wix-0, who was always experimenting with the problematic stages. If you're interested in the finer details of this challenge and want to watch the streams, I've left those links down in the description. You've made it this far, so I highly recommend that you like, subscribe, and join my Discord server. The YouTube comment section can only go so far when building a community and planning new challenges, so Discord is the place to be if you want to share your art and ideas with awesome like-minded individuals. Or want to look at cursed photoshops, because there are a lot. I have no clue where that inspiration comes from. Anyway, thank you so much for watching to the end, and do me a favor, if you see any of the Angry Birds, tell them I said hi. They won't care.